Hello. How are you doing? I hope you're doing okay. It's Friday, fellow weirdos, fellow nerds, fellow dorks, fellow geeks. What's up? How you doing on a Friday? I'm doing fine, doing okay. Tired. It has been a long week. I don't know how it's been for you guys out there, boys, girls, ladies, gentlemen, non-binaries, whoever you are. It has been a freaking long week, dudes, and it's about to get a little bit longer. That's okay. Why is this thing... How do I exit? Hold on. My other computer was stuck on full screen, and we don't want full screen. We want the monitor open. There we go. All right. Let's jump out on a Friday and say, hey, it's been a long week, and then we'll say, hey, let's do our patron updates and our members updates real quick. Members, 2 of you disappeared. I don't know where you went. 2 people disappeared. We're down to 83. Patreon, 186. We're still 1 short of being able to reference rap music from the 90s, but there we go. Okay. I guess we don't have a lot of people showing up today. It's probably busy Friday for y'all. You know how it is. Let's say hi to everybody in the chat real quick, and we'll get going on today's topic after that. Mikey Fishy, Big D Smoke, Alyssa Bentley, Steve Bearteach, Recab Harris, Frank Dominguez, Alyssa Bentley, Brian P. Did I say hi to Janice already? Well, hi, Janice Lundberg. How you doing? Am Cluescent. And I think that's everybody. Steve. Hey, to the A to the B. Hey, what's up, buddy? Alyssa Bentley. No relate. Hashtag no relation. That's right. That is correct. Normally on Fridays, we used to do the Patreon posts. But nobody posts to Patreon anymore. I don't know why. They just don't. Probably has something to do with the Discord, because most people post all their stuff up on Discord. And the current topic of the day on the Discord for the Project Corner has been in relation to air pumps and building air valves and running a whole bunch of sponge filters in your fish room and how to figure that out. And Ryan and Kiwi Mamo have been going kind of back and forth and back and trying to figure out, hey, could it be a 3/4 inch pipe? Could it be a 1 inch pipe? Could it be a 2 inch pipe? Who knows? And the consensus has come down to, hey, there's a chart on the old internet when you Google, you can split air valve, hold on, manifold system. So if you look this up, you can actually find a chart which can show you an air valve, manifold system on like what size of pipe can carry what kind of loss over the length of the pipe. And where did it go? I had looked this up earlier. Here it is. I've got it right here. I forgot to import it because I didn't want to steal the image and act like it was mine because it's not my image. Where did it go? Where was the good one? Here's the good one. Split ranging multiple valves. Oh no, where did it go? I had it right here. Guys. Did somebody break into my computer and force me to accidentally close the window that has the head loss calculator? Haha, here it is. All right, add source. And we'll go like this. We'll go to screen capture, smart selection, and then let you guys know this is the engineeringtoolbox.com pressure drop chart. Boom. Look at this thing. This thing gives you the whole breakdown of what it is that you're looking for on the size of your pipe, and then your loss from pressure. So the volume over the pressure over the size of pipe. See how this works right here? See how we get a drop going on as time goes on? So we get a bigger pipe. We add volume, but we lose pressure. So we carry the volume, and then this is the size of the pipe throughout both of the charts here. I think what I'm going to do is resize this. Let's go ahead and remove that, and we'll resize it because we're not looking at 2-inch stuff. Let's just zoom in a little bit on what it is that we're looking at. So this area right here is basic relevance for you all out there doing fish tankery stuff. I'm gonna put it right over my face so you guys can see it as good as you can, as good as humanly possible with the technology that we have. Loss would be a function of compression. No. Not just the diameter and length of pipe, I'm thinking. This is the chart right here. So you can look at volume of flow, size of pipe, and then loss of CFM over the period, basically over the period of length and whatnot. You can continue to follow this chart. Now, the important key things that I would point out here is just the volume of flow. So from a 1/2 inch to 3/4 an inch, it goes from 15.7 to 20.1, up to 1 inch, it goes to 26.6, as time goes on. Now, volume of flow is what's going to matter most for us because we're not so concerned with our pressure and all that kind of stuff. We just want to get a volume of air because we're going all the way down to those tiny little air lines. We're going all the way down to those little 1/4-inch lines, and we're trying to push air through something that doesn't really have that much back pressure. Obviously, it has like a little bit of pressure that it has to push through, but it's not a whole lot. We're just trying to supply a volume of air to run sponge filters, right? So our concern isn't necessarily pressure, but more to my point is that you can look up these charts and you can find out the loss that you're going to be dealing with over time. And that's going to be the best tool that you have is looking it up on a Google search and going that route. And then from there, you can go like, okay, if I've got a 1-inch pipe and it's going 20 feet, I should expect this volume of air. And then you can calculate the volume of air against how many airlines you're going out plus the loss, right? So you are going to have a little bit of loss on each one. So let's say that each one is, calculating in just to keep the numbers really round. Let's say you go with a 1/2-inch pipe and you've got 15 CFM. You're essentially going to go, okay, each little airline that breaks into there will be a reduction of 1. So let's say if you had a 1-inch pipe and you wanted 15 little air valves on there, that's going to be the maximum, right? Now, this isn't the perfect math. I'm just putting round numbers out there so you guys can start to kind of get an idea of how this works. So once you know what your CFM is, so let's say it's that 16 number and each valve is 1, it's going to drop off, and then you're going to also have to calculate in, oh, wait a minute, it does at some point have to push through some water. It also has extra distance on each airline, and go down. So what I normally do is, let's say if I had the number that I could put 20 valves on it, I normally just slash that right in half for human error, right? And for the reason for that, when I say human error, is that breaking down the calculation of the airline going through how much water to go down to the sponge filter to continue to push against the gravity of the water trying to push back through the hose, right, is insanely difficult to calculate for the average person. If I sat down and spent a ton of time writing out the math, I could get there. And we could eventually figure it out. But who cares? It's a monumental waste of time, realistically. Unless somebody's paying you an exorbitant amount of money to sit down and do the math and then be able to publish the math later or something like that, it's going to be a huge waste. So what I typically do for fish room functions is just go, okay, let's say my number is 20. I'll just cut it slash it right in half and say I could do 10, maybe 12, and that'll generally be fine. That's generally how I do my math for fish room stuff, is just way over, way overly cautious for what it is my expectation of the system to work. And that's the way that I would go with sizing this kind of stuff. So as far as air pumps, I always go with the linear piston pump. I normally run it in 1-inch pipe, because 1-inch pipe for me is much easier to manage, to drill holes into, to thread the holes, to put the air valves in, to do all that stuff that needs doing. I don't like doing it on a tiny little pipe. Yes, you may save $1, $2, $3, $4, $10 maybe running 3/4-inch pipe or 1/2-inch pipe, but just the usability is much simpler with 1-inch pipe. It's much easier to deal with, and it's a much simpler situation. Now, that's when we're in consideration with like rigid pipe. We're talking about PVC, stuff like that. But nowadays, I actually end up using these push-to-fit plumbing connectors, and I use these all the time for my airlines. So generally speaking, with like CO2 and whatnot, this is what I use. I don't utilize air in my fish rooms anymore, because I normally use that in conjunction with my sump. So my sump will be backfeeding into the system, and I'll aerate down below. But I do have some air pumps now running air into my sumps. Now, it's not as crazy as you guys would need to be if you're running just sponge filters. Like, I'm running a sump. It's much easier for me to handle, like, adding air, not being concerned about it into the sump. But I use these push-to-fit connectors in conjunction with the, I always want to say polyethylene, but I don't think that that's right. I don't think that's correct. I want to say hold on, let me find that poly hose I use. Poly. Oh, hold on. I can just look through my orders real quick. So I use these push-to-connect fittings these days. I don't really use anything else for fish room applications. And one of the big reasons, it is polyethylene. I also was right. Oh, I can't find that page. Polyethylene. What are they calling it? Air hose. There we go. So I actually use this, not pneumatic tubing. Oh yeah, yep. I use this pneumatic tubing. That's the 3/8 outside diameter. This is the stuff I use all the time now. People don't like this because it's rigid, but I use it because it's rigid. Now, I can use this for drip lines. I noticed that Richard's talking about drip lines. I'll talk about that in just a second. I use this for drip lines. I use this for CO2. I use this for air. I use this for everything now. And the reason for that is that this being a fairly rigid hose is that I don't get lost from my CO2 going from my bubble counters all the way across the room. I don't have loss from air coming from the pump going over to my sumps, and I don't have loss with water, obviously, because water's just flowing through the hose. But I use this rigid stuff all the time now. It doesn't kink. It doesn't get damaged the way that those floppy rubber airlines typically do. They don't crack. They don't lose stuff. They actually work really well. And I've switched over to completely using this. And there's an added benefit that they can be color-coded. So I can literally have, like, a blue one is water, like a clear one is CO2, and the red one is air or something. I can have everything color-coded so I know where things are going, what they're supposed to be, and that kind of stuff. Whereas in the past, I would have, like, only black tubing or, like, only blue tubing or whatnot, and that would drive me completely insane because then I would have to put stickers on everything, and I do that for work all the time. So I would much rather not having to be doing the sticker game at home and trying to find the sticker and go, oh, okay, what is this one? What's that one? And it saves me a lot of time, saves me a lot of hassle and a lot of headache. So that's would be my recommendation, is get to the push to fit connectors that you're looking for. Utilize those because you can quickly make changes. You can quickly change the length of stuff, plug things in, unplug things, do all that kind of stuff. You can cap the hoses off. So like, let's say you made a bunch of extra ones, you had them off to the side. You can actually just have them capped with a push to fit cap that you can take off. It's very usable. You can add valves, you can add turns, you can add threaded pieces, you can have T-unions. There's just a whole bunch of stuff that you'd be able to use. And one of the things that I found to be actually additionally helpful is I actually use these in electrical all the time. But one of the things I started doing is I would use these knockout. I don't know if you guys know what a knockout connector is, but here's what they look like right here. So I can literally drill a hole into something, like a piece of plywood in a stand or a leg in a stand or something like that. I can use a knockout. I can use a knockout. I don't know. I just call these the plastic knockouts. Stick one of these in, run the airline through there, and it holds it in place, and it doesn't go anywhere. So that kind of stuff's very helpful as far as I'm concerned. And hopefully that little rant there was able to help somebody out looking to do the air stuff. You're trying to send air all over the place. That hose is helpful. The connectors are helpful. And that chart, you're basically just going to look up and find a decent chart to see how much air is coming from your pump, what size the main manifold airline is going to be, and then how much loss you're going to get over the length that you're going to go, and then how many airlines are tied in there. Use a linear piston pump for some tanks and for aeroponics, so the push-to-connect info is helpful to know. Yeah, those push-to-connectors are just monumental. Just make sure you're cutting your pipe nice and smooth, which that's like a $5 tool from Home Depot. Nothing too crazy about that. Hey there, just accidentally dropped 6 cherry shrimp into cold water when transferring them into my tank. Got them out within 2 minutes. Chances of shock death. Well, it's really hard to say, like, if you're going to shock kill the cherry shrimp. I mean, I can't predict the future. Drip acclimation is realistically like a big waste of time, in my opinion. And, bear with me, boys and girls. That's my opinion. So stay with me here. Drip acclimation normally just leaves whatever critter in the dirty water for a long period of time, or longer period of time, right? The reality is that if you're doing drip acclimation, it's because you want to take whatever it is that you got in the mail or you got from a store or something like that, and you want to acclimate them to your water conditions. Unless you're doing this over an extensive period of time, the drip acclimation isn't really going to do anything that people have an expectation that, like, oh, my critters are just going to casually adapt to the new water conditions or to the clean water. To the clean water and whatnot. Now, if the bag water is so dirty that you need to get them into clean water, right? What's the advantage of leaving them in the dirty water for a longer period of time, right? So, like, let's say you have a dirty diaper, okay? Let's say you got your dirty diapies, right? And you're like, well, I'm not going to change the dirty diaper immediately. I want to change it really slowly because, I wouldn't want to shock them into a clean environment. You know what I'm saying? You would want to get them into the clean water. You don't want to waste your time. Get them into the clean water. If you're trying to adapt them to your water conditions, they're either going to adapt to your water conditions or they aren't. Dripping some water into a bucket for an hour or an hour and a half, it's not really going to do anything to really prepare them for the water conditions that you're putting them in, because if the water conditions you're putting them in are so dramatically different than the environment that they're supposed to be, you already haven't done the work that you were supposed to do, which is set up an environment for the critter that you were going to have ahead of time, So, I mean, it's a really weird situation to me. Like, these critters aren't going to suddenly adapt to like pH of 8.5 or something in an hour and a half. And if you have neutral water conditions or relatively neutral water conditions, I would just get them out of the dirty water and get them into the tank. They're probably already temperature-wise, especially shrimp aren't going to be that shocked from going say from like 55 degrees to 68 degrees. It's sure, it's a little warmer. It's warmer, but it's not, it's nothing that's just going to kill them. So my whole thing with like the drip acclimation thing is like, oh, are you not ready to have these fish, like, or these shrimp or these snails or whatever it is that you're drip acclimating? It's like you don't have a place for them to go. They just showed up in the mail. You didn't order them today. That's always been kind of my thing, is like, what are you doing? So I don't know. I feel like when I order stuff, like I have a tank that is already ready for stuff to show up, like a week before I even ordered it. And is that weird? Maybe. I don't know. But if, people are asking me questions about whether or not it's going to shock your fish or your shrimp or anything like that, they should be fine. Just get them into the tank and they'll be fine. Yeah. Yeah, as Richard with the follow-up says, I got the exact same advice. If they'll die from being in the tank, dripping only slows down the process. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. If your tank is healthy, shrimp and fish and stuff like that, we ship them around all the time. So we think it's super normal, and it is generally pretty normal. And more often than not, they're going to be fine from being shipped around. But that's the traumatic event that, living in the dark for 2.5 days, being in a box, being shook around, is generally going to be the trauma that might kill them. If you put them in the tank and they're going to do well, they're just going to do well. And I always kind of go into the shipping process of like, okay, I'm probably not going to get 100%. So like the last shrimp order that I placed, I ordered probably 40% more shrimp than I was wanting to get. Does that make sense? So like if I wanted to get 60 shrimp, I ordered 100, right? So that I would be like, because I'm probably going to have some losses from the shipping process and all that kind of stuff. And I did, we had some dead shrimp and whatnot, but most of them made it and most everything was fine. And we got them added to the tank. We had a couple die off over the next week. We had some die-offs, but, I put my shrimp in a really big tanks, which just means that there's going to be a little bit of extra food in the tank. I mean, it sounds super rude or whatever, but, like, if a couple of shrimp die in the tank, they're probably going to be eaten by everything that's in the tank. So it's generally just a little extra food, that kind of stuff. Then I'm, ready for the next week. I do my water changes, kind of go through, see what's happening, make sure everybody's doing well. And they are. So the last order of shrimp I got in was probably 2, maybe 3 months ago, and they've started breeding already. So, most everything's fine. Next thing you know, I got too many shrimp, is basically how that goes. So, wouldn't be that freaked out. We'll just get them in there. Make sure your tank is doing well and doing what it's supposed to be doing, and you should be fine. Young Mango says, I was wondering what your opinions are on treating driftwood found outside. How would you do it? Also, how would you incorporate fake decor to blend smoothly with a planted scape, like a mushroom? Well, let's see here. So most driftwood that is coming from outside in nature is generally going to still be waterlogged. It's probably going to have fungus on it. It's probably going to have dirt and debris and stuff all over it. So I typically would go through the process of, like, if you've ever hang dried flowers before, I basically do that. I know it sounds weird and like a big pain in the butt, which it kind of is. But what I do is I would, if I got a whole bunch of driftwood from outside, I would rinse it off, maybe, but generally what I do is I'll just hang it up in my shop. I don't know if you guys know, but my shop is just like an old crappy barn type building. So there's a lot of air moving through there and all that kind of stuff. I would just hang it up in the rafters and let it dry out and see if I do have anything weird. I don't know what I got going on like a frog in my throat today. Oh, I got a Wolfert Brimley. Maybe I got a Brimley in my throat. Maybe I got one of these guys. But I would just hang it up and dry it out like I would dry out flowers. Like if I was trying to do that, just leave them up there for a month. Maybe 2 months, maybe 3 months. Maybe forget about it and get them 6 months later. But and then just see that they're fully dried out before I go adding them into the tank. Because generally speaking, most stuff has a problem being transferred once it's completely dried out. You're not really going to get too many pests or bacteria or anything weird like that once it's completely dried. And you'll generally be okay. As far as, adding in driftwood from outside, I know people have a tendency to freak out about it, but also, like, where do you think the shrimp and the fish and everybody are coming? Where do you think they're coming from? They're coming from the earth, right? They're coming from outside. There's not really, if you're out in nature getting stuff and you're bringing it home, obviously you don't want to add things with aromatics. You don't want to add, cedar and pine and stuff like that. But I generally only use hardwood in my tanks. I know some people that use some softer woods, like Tom Barr. I've seen him do some softer woods a few times. I just don't like how quickly they break down and kind of scum up the water and all that kind of stuff. And obviously you don't want things with aromatics. It's not too great for a lot of things. But, I'm not that heavily concerned. And, I know a lot of people are like boiling their rocks and doing all this crazy stuff. And I don't advise anybody to do any of that stuff. Don't boil rocks for sure. You really don't. Unless you have like a geologist with you, you're not really sure what you're boiling. And by the way, you're introducing a lot of danger that you might not be thinking about. You might not be thinking about the danger of boiling rocks, but sometimes they explode. And sometimes you're in the range of that. And you know what? You might not die, but you probably would get seriously burned or injured in some facility that you really wouldn't want to be, So that's why I tell people not to boil rocks. Like, what is exactly going to be on these rocks that boiling is somehow going to make them okay? You just want to check for whether or not they're going to adjust your pH. And if that's a problem for you, then don't add those. That's going to be the advice that I would give to anybody out there. You could always like kind of dry stuff out in the oven, but it's just kind of overkill. That's just wacky. Aquaseekin has a good point here. You have the crib before the baby arrives. That is a good point. Yes, you should have. It's like having a crib before the baby comes home. You know what I'm saying? Just lay the baby on the ground and then go, I'll head out to the shop and start building a crib now. Let's see. Slim Pickens. I'm guessing that's Slim Pickens. I recently lost a couple of Rasboras. Still don't know what the problem was, but they were swimming upside down. I do water changes, move survivors to another tank. They're doing great. Any ideas why? I have no idea why. Old age? Some kind of sickness? Maybe a fungus? Maybe bacteria? Yeah, man. Who knows? Who knows? Could be anything. Could be anything. I don't know. Sometimes fish just die, though. I also have to remind people of that. Like, sometimes fish have just reached the end of the lifespan that they're going to live. You know, we live much longer than most fish. So, and yes, there are a couple of fish that live longer than humans, but you're not keeping them in your aquarium is all I'm saying. You know, you're not keeping Greenland shark in your aquarium. Ooh. Fingers crossed the water wasn't too cold. Already have cherries in there. Happy, so the water will be good for them. Yeah, it'll be fine. I would not worry about your the temperature from, dunking the shrimp in there. I worked at a store where we literally would get 600 cherry shrimp in, and we just take the bag and dump it into a net and put them directly into the tank. I mean, it's not. Just get them in the tank. That's going to be the thing that you can do. Mike Kenseth. Hey, Joel and everyone. I'm new to scuds. These are some of the coolest little critters. I'm going to use a fry tank to culture scuds for some adult fish. Good times. I think the last time I kept scuds was like 2009, maybe 2008, maybe 2012. I don't know. It was quite a long time ago, and I recall them being a lot of fun, and then them just getting out of hand, and we were like, "Oh my god, we gotta break this tank down. This is bonkers." Oh, Slim Pickens says that's sort of what I thought. They were 5 years old. Yeah, I mean, Rasboras, they don't live forever. You could have just had old fish. If you've had them healthy for 5 years, I think your animal husbandry was generally on point, and I would not be that concerned. I would imagine that it's probably just old age. That, if you've had Rasboras for 5 years, that's pretty much as long as they're going to go. 0X is wondering what's the rarest plant I got. I don't know. I get this question all the time. I don't know. And have I kept Hygrophila chai before? Yes, I have some. So, yeah. I don't know, the last count on trying to figure out how many plant species I'm keeping right now, I was over 100, and I just gave up because I was like, this is just crazy. Like, the 120 gallon has like over 50 species of plant in it. Like, just that tank has that in it, like the 150 does. Did I say 150? Yeah. Yeah, the 150 has that. I have a 120 that has 15 different plants that I got from Aquarium Co-op, all different species. I basically got a bunch of plants from Aquarium Co-op, and I've just been growing them in a tank. And eventually you guys will see the video for that. I don't know when. That'll happen. It'll happen at some point in time, but I have no guarantees that on a timeline. But it will happen. But then, like, another one of my tanks has, like, I don't even know, 40, 30, I don't know. It's just, I have lots and lots of different types, species of plants and stuff, and I just keep them because I'm a plant hoarder and I can't stop doing it. So, I got some different projects coming down the line as far as, like, aquariums and fish tanks and the fish room and all that stuff. So, that should be fun. But, I honestly, I don't know what the rarest plant I have is because they all just seem kind of normal to me at this point. So I don't know. Ooh, Practical Reefer says scuds and amphipods are one of my favorite things in a reef tank. Don't have any yet, but plan to add them. I would recommend anybody that's keeping a reef to get all of the little critters that you possibly can. For your tank. It's just it's the best part. That's in my opinion. I mean, obviously, anemones are dope. All the fish for a reef are awesome. The corals are awesome. All that kind of stuff. But all the little critters are definitely going to keep you occupied. That's for sure. 100%. 100%. Jamie's wondering how's the new L series lens working out. I've been at work since the last time you guys have seen me, basically, nonstop. Since the last show, I've basically just been working. The 100 to 500 that I got is it's pretty awesome. I started editing some of the let's see, media files. Yeah, I started editing some of the stuff from the zoo. And like here's a updated. Whoops, I'm moving the wrong. Where am I going? There we go. We gotta fix me there. So I'm editing some of the pictures from the zoo. This is Olivia being a goof. She spent more time like climbing, trying to climb up the hill and climbing all over the rocks than really doing much else at the zoo. But I started editing some of these pictures like earlier today or last night. I stayed up last night and was working too late on the personal projects, but basically since you guys saw me, I've just been out working. But the lens is right here. So, but yes, it's a fantastic lens. I really enjoy it. I brought it up earlier on Monday, how much I really like that. Really like that lens. And then if somebody was looking for... Crap, where did it go? I had the... Let me see. Somebody did a comprehensive review that is just so much better than I could ever do. And I had it saved here, but where did it go? Where did it go? Who... let me see. This may take a second. Sorry, guys, but I'm going to find the... I had it saved here. I don't know why. Let me see if I can't look it up here real quick. This might just take a second. 100 to 500. Lens review. Is this the right one? I think I had this earmarked. Yeah, Brian Carnanthan. Carnanthan? I don't know. I don't know how to say this guy's name. I don't have anything to do with this website right here, but this is... Oops, I put a period in there. This is the review. One of the reviews I went off of whether or not I wanted to get this lens. You know, because it's a big commitment. It's a big commitment of money, you know, which is a big commitment for whether or not I want to invest, you know, business money, you know, from my business into that lens and whatnot. And that's one of the reviews that is extreme lengthy, but well thought out, well followed through. And they did a very good job on it, and it really does that. And then there was another one, another couple other reviews. I definitely did a lot of research into this lens before considering investing that kind of money into it. But it's probably a lens I'll own for a decade, maybe longer. Who knows? So the way I look at it is like even if I use it for 5 years, and the rental cost. So if I use it for 5 years and I rent it 6 times a year, you know, renting a lens is probably like $100 realistically. And let's say I rent this lens like 5-6 times a year, you know, there you go. Jamie says, my camera won't take zoom lenses, only primes. Okay. I don't understand that there's a camera that doesn't take zoom lenses, but if you want to spend $14,000 on a 500 millimeter or the 600 millimeter lens, that's your call. I'm not spending that kind of money. You have an EOS 3. Oh, I think that thing is like an EOS 3? What is that? When did the EOS 3 come out? Like 1990 or something? EOS 3. When did that thing come out? When did the EOS 3 come out? EOS 3 come with 8 AAA cells and film. Yeah, when did that thing come out? Because the EOS 3, that's the first, yeah, it has the selection via eye control, right? Which the new one is, they have a new camera that they're working on that eye control thing. When did this thing come out? 1998. Yeah. So I don't know what to tell you, man. If you're rocking a 23-year-old camera, don't know what to tell you. I don't know. I have no recommendation for anybody that's running a 23-year-old camera. I don't know. Yeah, I don't. That's so far out of the range of me knowing anything about it, other than it has the eye focus thing in it. I don't. I'm not giving anybody advice on that. I would have to dedicate like 20 hours to research the old cameras, so I don't know. Personally, like, it's just not something that I would even use or find a use for, at all. It's like people with the record player. They're like, the audio the first time that the record plays is so much better than the audio from anything else. And I'm like, yeah, I don't want to have records. They're a huge pain in the ass. Like, it's a huge burden to have like a ton of vinyl around, to have a record player. I'm like, just give me 256K audio streaming, and it's going to be good enough for my dumb brain to be like, I know that song, and then be like, I'm having enjoyment with my ears. Whoop. That's good enough for me, man. I just like to rock out and have a good time. And I just can't get that like deep into like old technology just because it's air quote better. Joel, what method would you use to research and hire a local contractor for home projects, specifically for a bathroom remodel? You always want to get 3 bids. You always want to get recommended contractors. Always check with like, there's a lot of services out there, like Angie's List and all that kind of stuff. Like, I don't know if any of them are any good, because it seems pretty easy for me that people could game that system pretty easily. So I normally go off of like personal references. Like, if you know somebody who's gotten work done in the area and it has worked out well for them, then I would go that route realistically. Personal references are my favorite. If it's for you specifically, Steve, just send me a message, because send me a message on Discord or whatever, and we can talk about it, because I do know some contractors that could be in the area that could help you out with that. Yeah. EOS 3 uses eye focusing. My oldest camera is 70 years old. 8x10 is still king. Yeah, hey, man, like, I get it. There's lots of cool old stuff out there. I can't engage with it. I don't have time. I don't have time to do that. We have 83 members, and we have 186 Patreon sponsors that are helping to sponsor me being able to produce stuff, and I've never been to the point where I was independent and being able to make videos all the time. Even with how generous everybody is right now, it's like, I don't know what part of the world that, because I think total right now we make about $1,000 a month, and then you take taxes out and all of the things that I have to pay for, like internet, the software that I use, the website hosting, server hosting, all that kind of stuff. And I have to work full time. So honestly, the pandemic really threw a gigantic wrench in a ton of stuff that I was doing, and so I've just been working as much as I can to try to keep up on the bills and stuff like that, so that I can get back into making more video production. And in the off chance there's some day that I'm able to dedicate the 60 hours a week that I would like to, maybe I would be able to shoot with some old stuff. Maybe I would be able to shoot with some old cameras and figure out that kind of stuff. But I've never really been in that position where I've been able to do that. The closest thing that I could approximate to that was doing reel-to-reel like audio, doing reel-to-reel audio editing and stuff like that. I did that probably upwards of 20-something years ago. I was doing that stuff, but back then was a simpler day. It was a simpler time, and I definitely didn't have kids to think about or anything like that, and I do now. So is what it is. Slim Pickens says, I asked this a long time ago. Anyone interested in a Pictus catfish? I don't have a big enough tank, and I hate that I can't find someone to take it. 100% free. I'll pay shipping. Just want a good home. That I don't know. That I don't want to pick this cat. Really cool fish. I don't have a place for them. So I don't know how many times I've gone and seen little Pictus cats at stores and been like, oh man, those are cool fish. And then it's like, wait a minute, I can't do that. That's not something that I could do. Mikey Fishy, I mean, ideally more, but show Joel some love. Hey man, the $5 super chat. Thank you, my guy. I appreciate it. 100%. Yeah, so, like this last couple months, we've definitely been configuring the server, figuring out stuff for to be kind of like more engaged with Discord and all those kinds of things, and a lot of our effort has been going into that. I should be getting back into more of my typical video production stuff here after probably about 3 weeks. 3 weeks, a lot of my projects are going to wrap up. I'm going to get back to a more regular schedule of video production. I'm going to have more time in the office to be doing straight editing and stuff like that, where I'm not like having to handle all this other crap all the time. But we're getting back to kind of a normal schedule here in probably like 3 weeks. I'm kind of looking forward to that. And tomorrow I get my final vaccination, my booster. I get my booster vaccination. So hopefully I'll be able to be not, well, I don't know. I'll just be vaccinated. How about that? But we just put it that way. I'll be vaccinated. It will be a little bit easier to potentially navigate shooting out in the field a little bit more for the stuff that I want to shoot. Because I can always shoot nature stuff. That's the thing. Like, I can always shoot nature stuff because it's super easy to social distance in the woods. If I want to go film somebody's fish store, I got to, like, go there in the middle of the night or something when they're not open and try to get them to open. But also, like, I think the reality is I would just literally just be traveling just for the sake of not a huge return. Does that make sense? It seems like a lot of travel that would be unnecessary. But hopefully in about 3 weeks' time, I'll be able to start launch some more videos for you guys, because I got a bunch of stuff filmed. I just haven't had the time to really edit it all that well at this point. Get my second shot on the 14th. Ooh, Big D Smoke's going to get his second shot. Effort into the TV Legos. Yeah, we've been trying to configure a lot of the stuff for that. We've been trying to configure a lot of the stuff for that. I do have some server stuff and a lot of things that we're attempting to launch. I have some people working on it. And we've been, kind of focusing on integrating that kind of stuff so that we can move forward with some of the projects that we want to do. Will M with the $10 super chat says, I second the love and I raise you 5. Damn. Oh my God, guys, where this episode has been monetized by Mikey and Will. Well, thanks, guys. We appreciate it. I don't know how to turn off commercials because I tried to turn off commercials so many times on YouTube, and I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to turn the commercials off. I tried it so many times, and it just, people still get commercials. And, you know, when I signed in on some of my, they're not fake accounts, they're my alt accounts to like verify whether or not things work. It's like, oh, these still have commercials on them too. So even when I've like personally demonetized and made sure there was no commercials, like YouTube still plays them. They still play them for you guys. So I don't know. I've tried to turn them off, but it just doesn't work. Jamie says, second shot kicked my butt and my wife's butt for 1 day. I'm expecting that probably Sunday I'll probably be toast for a day. I had a pretty strong reaction to the first shot, so we'll see how it goes this time. Hopefully I'll be all right. Mikey had a first day. Mikey had a first day for sure, but they went away. Totally worth it. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like, you know, actually, I posted something earlier, and I want to read this. It's from Mike Berberglia. I don't know. I don't even know. I see some guy. I don't know. But he had a good point here. He said, doctors and scientists have spent their entire professional lives laboring over their work so that you could have a vaccine in a crisis like this. But sure, go ahead and not take the vaccine because you read 3 articles. Right? Which I think is a good point. You know, the reality that the weird misinformation that like flies around the internet these days, it's pretty astounding when you really get into like what kind of people are falling for, you know, and just the idea that like, you know, like this doesn't work or blah 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 or all this kind of stuff. It's a conspiracy. I mean, the reality is like how, if there was a conspiracy like this, how would anybody keep it secret? You know? Like, I don't know if you've ever engaged with other human beings, but you literally, like, you tell something to somebody, everybody knows about it, like, 10 minutes later, right? It's like the moon landing thing. Like, people trying to say that, like, they faked the moon landing, right? Like, how would you get, like, 100... I mean, I forget how many people worked on that whole project. Like, 100,000 people. Like all across the whole spectrum of people going to space. Like how would you have got them all convinced to not tell anybody about the faked moon landing? You know what I mean? It's a weird situation, right? That you would imagine that all those people would be like, we're not going to tell the secret. The moon's fake. You know, like all those people would have told the secret because they literally want to know the secret. And so I don't know what's happening right now in chat. You guys are doing something. I don't know what's happening right now. But, you know, I hope that everybody gets vaccinated for the sake of everybody else. You know, one of the reasons we don't have to think about smallpox, right? And I know a while ago, I had a discussion with somebody that they were like, I've never known anybody that's had polio. Why would I worry about polio? I haven't even known anybody that's ever had polio. And I was like, there's the cognitive dissonance right there, where you just, because it's never happened to you, it's not something that you have to worry about, right? And you may or may not have been in a car crash. I've been in a lot of car crashes. I wear my seatbelt like religiously. I've been in a lot of car crashes, most of them not my fault. And I have legitimately, when having been exposed to something like that, you go like, oh, you take the preventative measure. You take the simple preventative measure to go, all right, if something like that happens again, I'm going to be prepared for it. I'm totally losing my train of thought because there's too many there's too many super chats happening right now. There's too many super chats happening right now. You know, like, you don't have to have something bad happen. To the point I was getting to was that you don't have to have something bad happen to you to be a human being and understand that bad things happen. Correct? Right? It's the basis of empathy, realistically, right? Is that because we have conscious thought, because we have the ability to empathize with the positions that other people are in, and things that happen to other people, like when you see other people starving and you've never starved yourself, it's like, yeah, but I could probably help out a little bit with that, right? Because I have empathy. And so that's kind of the point where I come from, of going like, if this was a conspiracy theory, these two things combine, right? Like, who would be able to keep the secret? Nobody. And secondly, from an empathetic standpoint, that I go, maybe I'll be okay, even if I catch it or whatever. The last thing I want to do is pass it on to anybody else, because it would affect somebody else poorly, right? And if I can make a very, very, very tiny sacrifice to help other people out, I will always do that, because it's as described, it's a tiny sacrifice, right? It's like, a half an hour of my time to drive over and get vaccinated, like, come on. And then I felt crappy for a day, like, come on. I feel let down by a lot of other Americans on a regular basis at this point, and it makes me sad. And I hope that we can continue going forward. I had some people that are doing a convention in Europe, and they wanted to know if I was going to try to come to it this year. And I honestly had to respond, I don't think I can, because I don't think I could commit the resources to possibly going to something that is likely going to not happen. Because if, from the standpoint of looking at the news cycle, from the world standpoint, like, maybe just watch the BBC or something. We know that the situation in India is completely crazy right now. The situation in South America is pretty crazy right now. And if the pandemic's going to keep going, I'm not going to be going to conventions and stuff like that. I don't think it's responsible. I do have plans for some limited travel in the area here. But I'm not going to be staying at a hotel. I'm not going to be taking flights, because I don't need to take flights. I'm likely going to go to Oregon, and I'm likely going to go to Idaho. I'm going to tow the trailer. That's why one of the reasons that we bought the trailer was to be able to still do some travel and the trips that we can, but also not, not be potentially spreading around any kind of virus or even any kind of flu or anything like that. I don't want to spread that stuff around either. That's kind of the standpoint where we're at. Kind of put our money where our mouth is. Like, I bought a secondhand trailer from a family member that was getting rid of one. So we'll likely be doing that, and that's my plan this year. But I from a personal standpoint, I literally was like, hey, these guys are putting on this big convention, and, they wanted to know if I was going to be able to come. And it's like, the reality was, like, I saved up money for travel last year. That money got put aside, and I put it towards the trailer, because I was like, at the very least, I'll be able to travel to go shoot some video stuff in the future, even if the pandemic's still going, I could load food here. I could take a trailer. I could be all self-contained and be able to go to some of the areas near me, like maybe North California, likely Oregon and Idaho. I do have to go to Idaho I have to potentially go to Idaho to help move my grandmother, who is 98 years old. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. We'll see how this stuff goes. But I got to say thanks to some people in the chat for going ridiculous here. We got an arms race happening with Mikey Fishy coming in for a $15 super chat. Quickly followed up by Slim Pickens with a $20 super chat. Raise another $5. Aqua Seekin coming in with a $20 super chat. Bam, sharing in the love. Man, you guys must have gotten your stimulus check or something. I don't know, but I always would remind you guys just become a member or become a patron or something. Like hey man, like I love super chats as much as the next guy. I understand, and it would be disingenuous for me to say that people donating money so that I can keep working on this YouTube project. Like, of course, I want people to help fund the project. I have been doing everything I can to fund this project for 10 years now or something. I don't know how long. And so, I love that people super chat, and I love that you guys want to help, and I appreciate that. So it would be a lie if I said I don't want people to super chat. Of course I do. But I always try to tell people if you just become a member or become a patron at $1 a month, that is way more than I even feel is realistic. And to hopefully just keep moving forward. That's my plan. Just keep moving forward, and just keep doing stuff. One of the YouTube channels that I follow, and I have followed for quite a few years now, actually put out a really interesting video this morning of transitioning against the expectation of what their YouTube channel is supposed to be, right? And it spoke a pretty strong volume to me of being in a position where you go, okay, I have this job where I'm supposed to be artistic. It's supposed to be an artistic endeavor. So I'm supposed to enjoy it, right? Which I do. I love making videos. And to be honest with you guys, if I could financially make the commitment to do it 80 hours or 60 hours a week or 50 hours a week or whatever the number is, then that's probably what I would do all the time, is just make videos about stuff. The only successful channel I have is this one, which is focused around fish. Now, the other channel the video that I was talking about is focused around mostly political type stuff, right? And they were talking about how the expectation of every video is supposed to be politically a political agenda and and this and that has just weighed on them for a long time. And I think that I got to that point too a while ago where every video I'm supposed to put out is supposed to be a hyper-focused educational video about only fish tanks, right? And I think personally I probably got to that same headspace where it was I just don't even know what to make anymore. I don't know what to do because everything is supposed to be focused around fish tanks, and everybody's expectation is that every video I put out should be some kind of educational thing for them about their fish tank. And So I had to make a decision on whether or not I was going to make a change and just go like, look, I'm going to make what I make on this channel, and you're going to lose people. You're definitely going to lose people, and they're going to get mad, and they're going to get frustrated, and they're going to go somewhere else. And I understand that. So I do have some other YouTube channels where I literally was like, oh, I'm going to make this thing, and I'm going to make that thing. And it's incredibly discouraging to make something that is just, you think it's good quality, you think it's a good thing, you think it has good message and this and that, and from the standpoint where we're at now, and you put out something like that on a channel that nobody knows about, it gets 4 views in a month, because the algorithm just is like, no, like, we're not promoting this to anybody. And the reality is, like, if you're trying to jump something off, you have to dump in this hyper-focused position. So I was like, okay, I've tested this out a few times, and that was not working for me. To try and launch a new thing in a different way and go like, oh my God, now I've got more work to do with another channel that is equal to the amount of work that I need to do right here. And I have a job, and I have a kid, and I have a wife, and I have a house, and I have a family, and I have all these things I got to do. And there's a freaking pandemic going on. So every time you try to do something, it's going to take twice as long, or maybe an unexpected cost, or maybe it's just not even possible to do it right now, and this and that. And I did have a conversation with Vicky the other day that I was like, I feel like I've gotten a lot of good writing done to like figure out what I'm doing. I've definitely pounded out a lot of some video content. I've figured out a lot of planning for what I'm going to be doing future wise, and outlines and stuff like that I need to do. So I am looking forward to, essentially, changing what it is that I'm doing, and just keep rolling with it. And you know what? I hadn't really thought about what it was I was going to talk about when I started talking about this. But like, I saw that video earlier, and I really, I'd really kind of connected with the message in it, where they were like, look, I'm not your teacher. I'm not your educator. I'm not your professor at a college or whatever. It's like, I'm an entertainer, and I want to entertain people. And so I am going to take a lot of those outlines and sort of apply the like, look, I just need to entertain people, and that's what I need to do, and focus on doing that, and just generally having a good time and having fun, and going back to just having fun on a production level, and continue doing that well. So that's what I'm focusing on for 2021 as we kind of move forward here. Like I mentioned, I've got a lot of jobs going on right now. They'll generally be done within 3 weeks, stuff like that. So I'm potentially like just gonna start releasing a bunch of stuff in June, and hopefully the second half of the year will be a lot of fun, and we'll just have too much content to talk about that we'll lose our minds, and our eyeballs will bug out, and we'll all just go nuts. Who knows? Mikey Fishy with a $50 super chat. Or no, it was Will with a $50 super chat. Sorry, I thought it was Mikey Fishy. Mikey Fishy with a $10 super chat. It's already a member. You can't stop me. Will M with a $50 super chat. He doubled down. So yeah, I don't even know what to do. What are we supposed to do if we have live streams like this? YouTube's going to start expecting these kind of live streams. And Pipex with a $20 super chat. Pipex super active on our Minecraft server. If you guys want to join up, you can become a member or become a patron. You get access to our Discord. You guys can always come and play on our Minecraft server. Or I encourage you just to come over to Discord, because it is a great resource 24 hours a day if you're having problems with your tank, if you have a new thing, if you have some memes you want to share, if you have something you want to sell, if you read a book that was really cool, if you heard a band that was rad, you could share some music stuff. Like we literally, like in the last, like let me scroll back here a little bit. So in our music area of the Discord, in the last month, we basically have had They Might Be Giants showed up in there. That 40 roll guy, the El Estepario Siberiano is a fantastic drummer who's hitting the scene. We got some. Oh yeah, this guy, the get out of my car. The guy that goes metal. He takes the what are they called? He takes like the TikToks of angry people and does metal track behind him. We had the Digital Underground. Shock G died. That is a tragedy. The Humpty Dance that's my youth right there. The Humpty Dance, 100%. The Digital Underground, that's my youth. And where do you think Tupac came from? He came from the Digital Underground. We've had Tom Waits. We got jokes. We got all sorts of nonsense. We have a voice chat in there where we generally are talking about, we're voice chatting. We're doing all that stuff. Aubrey with a $20 super chat. What are we supposed to do with the video, with the live stream that makes this many super chats, guys? YouTube is going to start expecting me to get all these super chats, and we're going to let them down. We're going to let YouTube down, which is going to be fine. We're going to be fine. That's super generous, man. $20, $50, $20, $20. I don't know what to do. YouTube's going to start to think that like we're a successful channel here, and we're just going to be like, dude, we're just here talking about fish, bro, like, and Minecraft, and trying to not be depressed during a pandemic and stuff. Joel G's here. DW, what's up, man? Good to see D here. You should log into the server, D. Things have changed. Things have changed pretty dramatically around the hub there. You should probably just at least log in to go check them out and see what the hell's going on, because it's a developing planet, I think, at this point. There's only like 15 people on there, but they're all going wild, building all sorts of stuff. So hopefully we can see some big time. We can see some big time like castles or something. I want to see some skyscrapers or castles or something. Everybody's been pretty modest with their buildings. We have one castle, one ice castle. We should definitely get more of that. Oh, actually, never mind. We have one ice castle. We have a lot of buildings. Okay, never mind. I was premature. People have built a bunch of stuff, and I have forgotten, but now I remember that people have built some big builds. But we got to do some bigger builds. That's the whole deal, right? Daniel Velez says, great stream. Good luck with the second shot. Stay well. Keep entertaining us and having fun. Have a great weekend. I will try. Did you, in fact, once get busy in a Burger King bathroom? I cannot confirm nor deny the allegations in the live chat right now. Matthew Waybright says, hey, Joel, can you link your political page? No. Plus, it comes with an SMP. But sooner or later, if the vaccine is available to everyone, those who choose not to get it are taking a risk. The rest of us have to get back to normal. That's a good point, Matt. That's the thing, is that like the vaccine production is ramping up to the best of its ability. Hopefully we can get distribution. We can just start to get it knocked down worldwide, and start to get back to get back to regular planet stuff, and not having to be so freaked out about the old CV. You know what I mean? The CV-19, right? Definitely look forward to that. The churchyard is expansive. That is true. I was downplaying what has become normal in my mind with our builds, but I do think we gotta do a giant castle or something like that someday. The busy in the bathroom sounds accurate. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I'm just like cleaning. Yeah, like cleaning the Burger King bathroom, disinfecting. Normal stuff. All right, guys. We got 4:15 p.m., which means I have got to go defrost the dinner and get the dinner rolling, so I can go pick up my baby, and we can have a Friday night, and then it will be like 8:30, and then I'll be like, I feel like I want to take a nap, but then I'll probably stay up till midnight, working on edits, because I have a whole bunch of edits I'm working on, and those are just photos, so we go easy on that one. I'm just editing photos. It's not a video, so yeah. But the voiceover stuff has been going better, I think. Better than it was before, that's for sure. All right. All right. We have so much viewer activity, I don't even know what to do with myself right now. This is ridiculous. Will M, Mikey Fishy, Slim Pickens, Aqua Seekin, Pipe X, Will M, Mikey Fishy, and I know that there were some more in there, but this seems to be the only ones that are showing up in my thing. But thank you very much, guys. I hope you all have a great weekend. I'll see if we can do like a Minecraft stream or something like that over the weekend, which is always fun. And it always seems to like deeply irritate some people, but could probably do that. Smash the like button. That's just important, I guess. I don't know. We'll see if anybody hit the dislike button. I hope they do. Hit that dislike too. Hit both. Hit both. Hit the like and the dislike, like back and forth, and then just turn off your phone or something. Who knows? But hopefully you have a fantastic weekend. I'll be back at the very least with our live show on Monday. We'll probably do an early show on Monday, I'm thinking. All right. Bye-bye.